Hi everyone, welcome back to the kitchen to those who are regulars, and to those who don't know me, I'm Anastasia. Make sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it. Now, today I'm going to show you a couple of my go-to low-calorie desserts that have helped me on my weight loss journey, so I want them to help you on yours. Now, the first recipe that I'm going to do today is a play on apple pie because it's got all the elements of an apple pie, but we're going to make them into bite-sized energy balls. Now, I'm also going to talk about a couple of products that I use as well, not necessarily recipes, just things like ice cream, low-calorie chocolate bars, and things like that. So stay tuned for that as well. Now, these recipes are all super easy to make, delicious, satisfies all of my cravings, and I hope that you enjoy them as much as I do. Okay, my hair is up. Let's get baking. Okay, so these are the ingredients that I'm working with today, but that does not necessarily mean that you need all of these ingredients or you need the exact same ones. You can definitely adjust this recipe. So today, instead of sugar, I'm going to use pitted dates. I'm going to use about 12 of these, so half the packet, in hopes of making about 20 energy balls. My other sweetening agent is going to be honey, and I'm going to use some of this skinny syrup, salted caramel flavor that I mentioned in my previous video, which is actually another low-calorie healthy dessert, so check that out. But also because it's a caramel flavor, it'll give it that extra element of the apple pie. Then I've got some porridge oats here that I'm going to use instead of flour, just to kind of tie it all together. And then I have some seeds here. I've got some pumpkin seeds, some sunflower seeds, sesame seeds, just for extra fiber and protein, along with this packet that I recently got and I'm actually obsessed with, milled mixed seeds and nuts, just for some extra fiber and omega-3. There's no harm in just sprinkling a bit of this in. I also have a bit of salt. Put a bit of salt in everything that you bake. Some peanut butter. Every apple pie has got cinnamon, so cinnamon, and I've got some ground allspice as well, just some nutmeg and stuff. And last but not least, I'm going to grate one apple just for that added freshness, and it is an apple pie. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to chop up some of these dates because I don't have a food processor and I tend to go for a lot of recipes that need food processors. I just have a blender. So I'm going to help the process by chopping up a few of these when they go into the blender with everything else. So I'm just going to pop all of these into the blender. Next, I'm going to pour in some of my salted caramel syrup, about 2.5 tablespoons. Then I'm going to add some of this peanut butter. I'm going to use about a tablespoon of this. And like I always say, make sure the peanut butter doesn't have any palm oil because that stuff is not good for you. So about a tablespoon of that. Adding about a teaspoon of this honey. Just a little bit. I'm also going to add my seeds just to break them down a little bit so they are easier to eat. Pop the lid on and let's see how this goes. Now I've added about this much water and 100 grams of oats. Okay, so this is as much as the blender processed this up. I don't even know if I have the right to use that word. But this is why you should invest in a food processor. Anyways, the next thing that I'm going to do is grate my apple to put into it.
Okay, so here I'm just putting in a handful of raisins. Then I'm going to add some cinnamon, just a dash of that based on how much you like. A little sprinkle of ground allspice as well. A sprinkle of this milled mixed seeds and nuts. You can tell I don't like measuring anything out. And don't forget your salt as well. And about 100 grams of porridge oats. So after they're all rolled, I'm just going to pop all of these into the fridge for about 20 minutes just so they can set and harden a little bit.
Okay, I'm already kind of ahead of you with the taste test. They taste like apple pies, healthy versions of apple pies. It tastes really good. You get the cinnamon. They're really soft, but you have the whole raisins in them. A bit of the seeds for the crunch as well. And you have the crunchy fresh apple as well, which just kind of lifts it. They're very good. I highly recommend them. You should definitely make them if you want a healthy dessert or snack. Stay tuned for the next recipe.
Okay, so this next recipe is even easier, healthier, less nutritious, but it is less calories. So go get yourself a couple of these from Poundland or the €2 shop. I got 6 in the packet, but I'm only going to use 4 today. 2 nectarines, some honey, and some yogurt. You can use any yogurt, protein yogurt, fat-free yogurt, whatever you like. Now, it doesn't have to be nectarines. I have a couple plums here. You could do plum and dates rather than honey. You could use apricots instead. It's really up to you. Basically, a fruit, a sweetener, and a dairy product. If you want these ice lollies to stand out, what you gotta do is cut your fruit of choice and cut them into thin slices because we're gonna roast them in the oven. Now, roasting them will make them softer, juicier, and also sweeter. So lay a baking tray with some baking paper and just evenly space out all of your peach. Next, we're going to drizzle on some of this honey so it can roast with the honey. Just so every little slice gets a bit. And also a tiny bit of salt. And then pop them into the oven until they are golden brown. So whilst those peaches are roasting away, we are going to make the mixture for it. So I'm going to put in about, call that 2 tablespoons, about 5 tablespoons of this yogurt. Just how much I think I need to fill up these containers, because you have to remember that the peach slices are going through them as well. Do 1 more for good measure. And also as much honey as your taste buds like. And then we just have to mix this in. And then once you're finished that, pop it into the fridge so it stays nice and cool. Those peaches are going to take about 25 minutes to cook in the oven, and if you don't have the time or effort, I really recommend these ice lollies. They're watermelon flavor, they have strawberry flavor as well, and each ice lolly is 61 calories and less than half a gram of fat, and they also taste great. So look out for these when you go grocery shopping. Okay, so the peaches are out of the oven. They're looking lovely and caramelized. I'm going to try use this spatula, if I can, to scoop them up and put them into this cold Greek yogurt mixture. Okay, so I've given everything a mix and I've started putting them into the molds. So you do have to try and push these peaches down, but they shouldn't put up much of a fight. Make sure you get a good few peaches in each one. So once you've done that, fill them up to the brim, pop them into the freezer for 4 hours at least, or even better, overnight. And I'll show you what they look like soon. Okay, it's the next day and we're having our ice pops in the sun. Gosh, it's sunny.
Yeah, the sun's just come out of nowhere.
What's the verdict on the ice pops?
Very creamy, not too heavy.
Sorry, these are just so good that we're all giddied up now. But yeah, definitely recommend them. You should totally make them. And they were so easy to make, weren't they?
Very easy to make.
So before I show you my final recipe, which is the best one out of them all, it's a 100-calorie chocolate mug cake that takes maximum 3 to 4 minutes to make. Now, you could make it less than 100 calories if you really wanted to, but it tastes so good either way. Just wanted to show you some of these other quick desserts that I would have after dinner or even after lunch, which you've probably already seen, but I want to recommend them just one more time. Fiber One bars. The chocolate brownie one and the salted caramel ones are my favorite. They're so good. High in fiber, low in calories, low in fat. You can't go wrong with them. You can, of course, just have a protein bar after dinner, but remember that they're not low in fat or calories. And this is a low-calorie video. So let me show you how to make this chocolate mud cake and you won't regret it. Honestly, it'll be something you will have all the time.
Okay, so for this recipe, you don't need any eggs, and that is something that I absolutely love about this mud cake. So the first thing that you need to do, which I've already done, is put in 2 tablespoons of flour. I've used self-raising flour. You can also use plain flour. It doesn't matter. Next thing you want to do is put in 1.5 tablespoons of a sweetening agent. Now I'm going to use this caramel syrup that I've spoke about before. You can use sugar, you can use any other kind of sweetener. So 1.5, okay, that's 2, doesn't matter. 1.5 tablespoons of that. Then I need to put in 2 teaspoons of cocoa powder. Now again, I don't have cocoa powder, so I'm actually just going to use this hot chocolate powder, and it's a low-calorie one, so that's another way of cutting calories. So it's actually going to be less than 100, and I need 1.5 teaspoons of that. Then what I need to put in is 1/4 teaspoon of some baking powder, so it can give us a fluffy texture. So just a pinch of that. A tiny bit of salt as well. Salt goes into everything. And 2 tablespoons of milk. Now I'm actually using some semi-skimmed milk. Just another way of making this less fatty but still delicious. So 2 tablespoons of that, and give it all a mix. It may not look like a lot in here, but once it goes into the microwave, the baking powder will make everything rise. And the last thing you have to do is put in 1 teaspoon of oil, or I'm just going to spray a bunch of this 1-calorie spray. And then put it in the microwave for 30 seconds. No more, no less. So this is how it turns out. I topped mine with 2 strawberries, a few mini marshmallows, and about 1 teaspoon of Nutella as well. And it is so good. That was literally gone in a flash, and it was so good. I hope you all enjoyed all of the recipes. When you recreate them, make sure to tag The Russian Twist on Instagram. And if you haven't already seen the account, go check it out and see the extra goodies that I post on there as well. Make sure to subscribe and like this video if you enjoyed it.